Imagine you're in a bowling alley. The sounds of balls hitting the lane, pins crashing, cameras flashing, and people cheering. What if I told you that people have been chasing those satisfying sounds for over 5,000 years? Hello, my name is Dean Morgan, and today, the purpose of my speech is to inform my audience about the history of bowling and how it developed into the modern sport and pastime we know today. I'm assuming that many of us have been bowling for fun with friends or family, but very few of us know that it is one of the oldest recorded sports in human history. If we can understand where it came from, it may help us to appreciate how traditions evolve and connect us through time. I'm credible to present this topic because I've researched many credible sources, including the International Bowling Museum website and the Britannica articles on bowling. The three key ideas I'll be going over are key idea number 1, the ancient origins of bowling and its early enthusiasts. Key idea 2, the rise of modern bowling and the people who shaped it. And lastly, key idea 3, the influence of technology and media on bowling today. So let's start out with my first key idea, the ancient origins of bowling and its early enthusiasts. My first key idea in my speech is the ancient origins of bowling and its early enthusiasts. Early versions of bowling date back to 3200 BC. Articles found in a tomb of an Egyptian child buried in 3200 BC consisted of 9 pieces of stones, which resembled pins, then a stone ball which was to be rolled. But the ball first had to roll through an archway made of 3 pieces of marble. The true modern sport of bowling was said to originate in ancient Germany. But it wasn't a sport then, it was a religious ceremony. Bowling was actually enjoyed by famous people back during the 16th through 18th centuries. The infamous King Henry VIII was an avid bowler. In 1511, he even banned bowling for lower classes, so only the wealthy could bowl. And Protestant Reformation founder Martin Luther even built his own bowling alley for his children, which he occasionally visited. The websites I used for this key idea are the Bowling Heritage website and the Britannica articles on bowling. What we learned is the early versions of bowling date back to 3200 BC, and King Henry VIII and Martin Luther were some famous people who enjoyed bowling. So let's take a jump in time from 3200 BC to the start of modern bowling. My second key idea is the rise of modern bowling and the people who shaped it. Bowling gained popularity in the United States in the 19th century, especially among German immigrants. Bowling only had 9 pins for the longest time, but gambling became a huge problem with 9-pin bowling. It was eventually outlawed, but an extra pin was added to avoid the law. Back then, bowlers used wooden balls, and rubber balls weren't even introduced until 1905. Around that same time period, the first organized bowling association was formed in 1875, the National Bowling Association. But it sadly didn't last very long, though. But just 20 years later, in 1895, the American Bowling Congress was formed. The American Bowling Congress was more successful because they standardized the rules of bowling and made the sport more respectful. But the famous out of the three, the Professional Bowlers Association, was formed in 1958 when 33 founding members banded together. So by far, the most famous founding member of those 33 is Don Carter. Don Carter was also the PBA's first president and is also from St. Louis, Missouri. He helped professionalize the sport of bowling and became the first athlete to sign a $1 million endorsement deal with Ebonite. Earl Anthony, widely recognized as one of the greatest bowlers in history, dominated the sport in the 1970s and 80s with over 40 titles and was the first to ever earn $1 million in career earnings. Dick Weber, who was also a founder of the PBA, and his son Pete Weber were household names because they were super ambitious and showed competitive spirit. They both contributed to bowling becoming more popular on TV. So back to Pete Weber. Pete Weber is one of, if not the most popular bowler of all time. Pete Weber bowled professionally from 1979 to 2024. His awards include 37 PBA Tour titles and 10 major titles. He has the all-time record for most U.S. Open titles at 5. So what we learned in this key idea is that bowling became popular in America in the 19th century, and the ABC, or the American Bowling Congress, was formed in 1895, and the PBA was formed in 1958. Those two organizations are very well known. And lastly, we're learning that Don Carter paved the way for modern bowling. So let's continue with my final key idea, the influence of technology and media on bowling today. My final key idea is the influence of technology and media on bowling today. The creation of the automatic pin setters, which is what you see at every bowling alley, it was created in the 1950s and changed the game of bowling by speeding up the rate of play, increasing accessibility, and helping the sport grow nationwide. When the PBA started televised tournaments in the 1960s and 70s, it even further boosted the popularity of bowling and helped it become a major American entertainment sport. Prior to the introduction of computerized scoring systems, bowlers had to manually count the pins and write it down. The computerized scoring systems modernized the game of bowling by removing scoring errors. The all-time great bowler, Walter Ray Williams Jr., had a record-breaking career. His record-breaking career elevated pro bowling and showed how media coverage can amplify star athletes. The more recent Australian pro bowler, Jason Belmonte, is known for popularizing the two-hand bowling style. Many people regard Belmonte as the greatest bowler ever due to his 32-plus PBA Tour titles and 15 major championships. Belmonte's dominance in bowling has skyrocketed PBA viewership. And a more lesser-known bowler, Johnny Petraglia, won 14 PBA Tour titles. And that may not sound too crazy, but he won them across 6 decades, which influences the sport's historical narrative. Some websites that I use for this key idea include the Richmond 40 Bowl website and an article from the How Stuff Work website on automatic pin setters. What we learned in this key idea is technology like automatic pin setters and computerized scoring modernized bowling, while media coverage of PBA events and star bowlers like Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Jason Belmonte boosted the sport's popularity and shaped how audiences experience it today. Now that I've finished up my last key idea, let's move on to a recap. The purpose of my speech was to inform my audience about the long and fascinating history of bowling and how it developed into the popular sport we know today. My 3 key ideas were: Key Idea 1, the ancient origins of bowling and its early enthusiasts; Key Idea 2, the rise of modern bowling and the people who shaped it; and lastly, Key Idea 3, the influence of technology and media on bowling today. So next time you grab a bowling ball and go bowling, think about how every strike and every spare connects you not only to your friends, but centuries of bowlers who shared the same joy. From religious rituals to Friday nights out in the bowling alley, the lasting appeal of bowling reminds us that fun and history never really goes out of style.